Coach Brennan. How are you doing?
What's up, y'all? How you guys doing?
Hey, Coach.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Yes. First of all, I got to give you a ton of credit for coming on here. And I'm going to say this. We're going to ask some tough questions, obviously. But you are the head coach of a Power 4 football team. I am a podcaster out of the guest room in my house. So we start under that. We start under that to premise.
You're wearing the right hat.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm wearing the right hat. All right. Now, Coach, Arizona ASU, what does this game mean? Obviously, it's a good team you're going against. You got, obviously, this could be a way to maybe, get a win going into the offseason. Where are we at with this game, Coach?
I think this game is just so much more than a normal football game, right? Like the history of this game, the incredible battles that have come before me being here, just how much everybody in the state, everybody at this university, on campus, in the city of Tucson, it's such a big deal, and it's something that everybody looks forward to year round. And you can feel the intensity, the tension, the hatred between the two schools. It's fun to be a part of it.
Sure.
Coach, with this rivalry and kind of focusing on it, is there one memory that kind of sticks out? I know obviously you have the family connection and all that, but is there one memory that kind of introduced you to this game?
Well, it's funny, I earlier in my press conference, I mentioned, having been here for a couple of them. But just, I think for me, just with my brother playing here and watching those games or being here for those games, being a part of some really memorable, games against ASU. I think about, in 98 when, my brother had to recover the onside kick. I think it was a crazy score, like 50-48 or something. Or
Trunk candidate had 288 yards on one carry, Coach.
Yeah, no, it's just an incredible, just the history of it, how many great players and great coaches have been a part of it on both sides of the field. And it's just really special to be a part of it. And I think about that game, post game, there's a picture here in my locker room. The students rushed the field, and somehow, my very idiot brother ended up on the goalpost in his uniform, and right. So it's just like a hilarious, memorable moment for me.
All right, Coach, first year, I'll go ahead, Scheer.
Yeah, big picture. Is there anything, and I know the season's not over yet, but is there anything that has surprised you about this job?
I think there's always things that surprise you anytime you take over a new job. There's things that you couldn't have known about until you're sitting in the chair. But I think the cool thing that I've been able to experience on a much bigger level now that I've been here for a while is how much the city is and the city and the university are just so integrated, right? I feel like the city the university is kind of the heartbeat of Tucson. And, I didn't have a great understanding of that, even though I was a GA here for a year. I was a much younger person and obviously not in the role I'm in now, but just how special that is, being in a town that's relatively big in population, but still feels small, where the university is the absolute epicenter of everything that happens here.
Coach, offensively, it's been kind of a struggle this year. What do you kind of attribute that to, and what do you want the identity of the offense to be?
I'm always going to want our identity to kind of move with our personnel, right? Like that's something that, there's been times where we've been an outstanding passing team. There's been times where we've been a really good running team. It depends on what that is. I agree. We've been trying to find that all year. There hasn't been nearly as consistent as I would like it to be, or any of us would like it to be for that matter. But I think, I'm going to be a team that's going to want to throw the ball down the field, right? Like that's something that's important to me. I think it's a fun way to play football, distributing the football to as many people as you can. But I think you have to have good running attack to help offset some of that, right? Like if you don't have, I'm not talking about balance. I think balance that gets thrown around too much, but you have to have at least a counter punch, right? In terms of the run game. And, that part has not been strong enough for us. And so, as we continue to evolve and continue to evaluate, we got a lot of work to do. And I think the fact that we get to play one more and the game means so much is another opportunity for us to go out there and show what we can do.
If you could go back and kind of do that, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently about this offense? Because like we said, it has struggled.
I think there's multiple things that are complicated there, right? I think, we've had to shuffle the deck, far more than I would like in the offensive line. And that makes it complicated, when you're trying to get consistency and high level performance, in that space. Recently we've been playing a little bit more ball on the perimeter, but really it depends on who we're playing and kind of what they give us. And if I could go back and like say, I would like to do more of this, I would probably say I would like to make sure the ball goes down the field more often, like throw the ball over people's heads.
Right, sure.
When you look at this team next season, like we're coming down again on the last game, should people be prepared personnel-wise to see a very different team than what they're going to see on Saturday?
Jason, I think that's college football. I think that's everywhere. I don't think that's specific to the University of Arizona. I mean, look at the ASU team, right? What is it? 19 or 20 of their starters were portal kids, right? Like it's just there's so much change year to year in the world we're living in, and because it's new, and because we're stepping out of NIL and we're going into rev share, and there's so many moving parts that I think you're going to see a lot of rosters have massive overhauls. And I think the important thing for us is just making sure that we do a great job retaining our best players, and I think that's where we need to start.
Now, with there's been, as far as like the staff, what are you looking at then? This coming off season for next year. Do you have the staff in place you want? Are there going to be changes? Where are you looking at with that?
That's not something that I would talk about right now. That's something that we'll do after the season. You know what I mean? We're going to continue to evaluate that, but that's been a constant evaluation. I've had really good conversations with our administration and with guys on the staff here about what's been good and what hasn't been good enough. And everybody's on the same page, and we have good alignment that way. And so, that's something that as we get through the season, because I know it hasn't been what we want it to be. Like that almost goes without being said, right? So how do we get us in a spot where we can play the kind of football we want to play?
Right.
Will your vision for the portal be different this year than it was last year?
Well, last year we missed the first portal window, right? And then we experienced the head coaching portal window where, everybody could recruit our players, but we couldn't recruit off other people's rosters, right? Just the way that works out. So it's just, that part of it, whenever there's a head coaching change, it's that 30-day portal window. So during that time, so much of our time was spent on retention. We had felt good about the players that were here. Obviously, they'd had a great season last season. And so there was so much emphasis put on the retention of the current roster here at Arizona. And then later in the portal, that part of it became, okay, coming out of spring practice, where do we think we have some spots where we need to find somebody to kind of fit in here or fit in there? I think this is different because we're going to have a full cycle. We're going to be here for the initial portal. We're going to be here to have the conversations with our players, because I'm sure there's going to be a player or two here that's going to want to try something out somewhere else. I think that's just the nature of college football right now. And as challenging as that is for all us old heads to figure out or to think about, it's just the reality of it. And there's nothing we can do about it. So how do we find the best way to move forward with the right people, all rowing in the same direction?
What do you attribute all the injuries to this season?
I mean, honestly, like misfortune, like so many of them were contact injuries. And I think that's been something that we've done, to the credit of our training staff, our strength staff and our administration here. We did a deep dive into all the data we have. We have a ton of information on, output of these players day in and day out, through every workout, through every lift, through every practice. And we did a deep dive into all that stuff. And I think when we looked at it, we felt like the pendulum swung really far the wrong way for us this year, where last year was one of the healthiest seasons the Arizona program had had in years. So I think that part of it, as challenging and as disappointing as that is, a silver lining is that there's lots of young players that got to get in the game and develop and get better. And so I'm optimistic about moving forward with that.
Is it more like with the strength and training, talking with some people, is there more plyometric based and heavy lifting going in as opposed to just kind of what it was last year with heavy lifting? How do you balance that out?
Well, everything is about, like, every training session is specifically designed for each athlete, right? So there's going to be some core principles that are always going to be part of us in that space. But there's definitely going to be stuff that we're trying to develop: explosive movement and ability to stop and start, and what kind of knee bend are we playing with, and what kind of knee bend are we training with, and putting our players in the situation where they're going to be doing the movements and the explosive movements that they're going to do come game time or come practice time, so that they start to build that muscle memory and the strength in those areas.
Right. Sure.
I asked Kenny something similar, but years ago, if I would have told you that coaches would be getting in front of microphones and asking people to help pay their players, what would you have told me?
I would have said no way. I mean, depending on how long ago you asked me that, I would have said no way, because for so long I mean, for so long as a coach or as an alum or a donor, you couldn't even buy a kid a cheeseburger. Right now, you can buy a kid a Ferrari. You know what I mean? It's just such an incredible, like, how much change has happened in so little time. And it's really, and it's a complicated process because everybody's doing the best they can, but it changes every day. And it's really a unique situation for all of college athletics, not just for football. Everybody's having to navigate this tricky time. But I think, if you asked me that 10, 15 years ago, I would have said that will never happen, and to me, it's long overdue, right? It is what it is. But because of that, now we're left in kind of this space where there is not a lot of clear regulation. There's not a lot of clear guardrails to protect the game of football or to protect the game of women's volleyball or whatever sport we're talking about, right? It's not specific to football. But I think, like, for me and for Kenny, I saw his interview. Like, I agree. Like, how much can we stand out in front of people, stand in front of a microphone and ask them to step up for these young people? Because there is a direct correlation between success and the level of talent you have in your program. And I think that part of it is everyone's trying to increase their talent every day, right? Whether it's through training and development or it's through acquisition. And so how much can people on the outside continue to step up to support the endeavor of being a great college football team at the University of Arizona?
Coach, one thing I'm going to say is you come off very well. People like you. I'm telling you, you got to get out of the community more. I know you've said in the past that it's not necessarily the head coach's job. You got to get out of the community.
I've never said that.
This stuff.
I've never said that it's not the head coach's job.
You said, I think you said,
Kevin, can we pull the quote up?
Yeah.
Let's go with the quote. Let's go with the quote.
Okay.
I think it was more of me representing our program. I leave the marketing to people with degrees and masters and PhDs and experience in that line of work. I'm on a microphone a lot. I'm out and about. I'm going to try everything I can to get our team ready to play and get us in a great spot, ready to play a really great football. I'm going to trust somebody who is better at marketing than I am. Coach, you are the marketer. I'm telling you, you are the head coach.
I hear you, but are you saying, like, in terms of me, like, coming on podcasts or being available to the media?
No, people love it. What you did the other day by, with the kids waiting for the Duke game, the basketball game, Coach, that was fantastic. People love that. I can't tell you how many people DM'd me saying it was awesome meeting you. That's the kind of stuff. This is a college town. People love that stuff, Coach.
I get that, and I am down for it 100%. Honestly, I am absolutely down for any of that. And really, I felt like my first 6 months, outside of working hard to retain the roster here at Arizona, like, I was out so much. Like, it was 7 nights a week, because my family was back and forth in California. And so it was just me out here. So, I was with development, I was with Desiree, I was with, we were in California. Like, we were all over the place meeting people as much as we could. So I'm all for it. Like, I'm one of those head coaches that actually, I like people. I enjoy being around people.
You come off well. You come off well.
I don't know about that, but, like, I like it. So I'm down. I'm ready.
Right. I'm telling you, though, just do stuff like things like that. This community eats it up. Well, I always say this is the biggest small town in the world where everybody knows each other. Everybody's going to have a story. Like I said, I got 3 Twitter DMs from people saying, I met him. He's a good dude. I'm telling you, people love that stuff, Coach. More of it. It'll help out everybody.
I'm with you. Amen.
Right. Now, Scheer, what you got?
I was just saying your message, obviously expectations and all that. What is your message to this fan base in terms of having confidence next season?
I think the biggest thing is that they hired me to do a job here, right? And it's not a 1-year job. And, trust me, I'm more frustrated and disappointed than anyone else out there. There's no one that feels it on the level that I do. And so, but I've also been through tough times as a coach before, and I've built programs before, and I know what it feels like, and I know the right steps to take, and I'm confident in the process to get it done. Now, we got a lot of hard work, and it's going to start, as soon as we get through the season, because we're going right into National Signing Day. We're going right into the opening of the portal, right? Like, so all those hard questions and the chaos of roster management and the shuffling of the deck and all those things that are going to happen, like, we're going to have to roll up our sleeves and go to work. But I believe in our process. I believe in the people that are in this fight with me. And I think we got great leadership from our AD and our president. And so as long as we have those things and we have an alignment there, we can build something really special here at the U of A.
What are you looking for next year? Obviously, I mean, T-Mac most likely moving on. Noah's, obviously Noah's taken a little bit of a step back, but we all know how good Noah is. What are you looking for next year from him? What do you want that, and how do you replace a guy like T-Mac, theoretically, if he were to leave?
Yeah, theoretically, if T-Mac were to leave, I don't think you replace a player like T-Mac. In my head, he's a generational player here. I think about the great receivers that have come through here in the past that are his level players. And
there are none. It's him.
Yeah, I mean, he broke Bobby Wade's record. Bobby Wade played here 25 years ago, right? So if that's the gold standard, right, like that's a long time in between there. But I do think that you can replace that production by committee. And one of the things that I've always believed in the receiver room, and I don't know if I'm just lucky or if I know what I'm doing at that receiver room, but every school I've ever coached at, I've coached half of the top 10 in the history of the school at that position. Going back 25 years, Cal Poly, San Jose State, Oregon State, San Jose State again. And so that's a position that I have a lot of confidence in the evaluation process and the development process, which is what I still believe college football is about, development. I know we're getting a little more mercenary. I know we're getting a little more plug and play. I don't think it's always that easy. And I think that, I believe the core foundation of our program here is going to be players that we evaluate, recruit, and develop over time. And they explode into these great players at some point in their career. And, so having the right pieces in that room, I feel really good about where we're at in the recruiting process at the receiver position. But then we're going to add some more pieces as we go, right? This shuffling of the deck that is coming. We're about to go into the craziest time that anyone has ever seen in college football. And it's going to be awesome and it's going to be insane. And so that's what we got to be ready for.
Yeah, exactly. Now, at the wide receiver position, obviously, like you said, you got T-Mac. There wasn't really somebody. Chris Hunter has emerged very nicely in these last couple games, but there hasn't been a ton of other help there. How do you fill out that room then and get a little bit more productivity?
Well, I think that's a combination, right? That's a combination of continuing to develop some of the young players that are in that room. Obviously, Chris Hunter is really making great headway right now, so we're fired up about that. And I give Coach Wade a ton of credit there, but then the recruiting process, right? So finding the right high school players that have the talent level where they can come in and play as freshmen. I do think at the receiver position, that's one position where you can actually play early, and it's maybe not as demanding as playing in the offensive line or playing at quarterback as a true freshman or something or in the secondary. But I do believe you can do that at receiver. And then I think we got to be honest and look hard in the portal and see what we can't find there to also. Because I also want to elevate the competition in that room, right? Because for so long, T-Mac has been the guy, right? Last year, Jacob was a really good player, but he was not T-Mac, right? I want to elevate the competition in that room to where every day those guys are slugging it out and feeling the pressure of all those reps so that when they get to game day, it's just easy. I want that competition to be fierce in that space for us.
What should fans look for next year? What are you the product on the field? What are you looking for? What should they look for next season?
I think they should look for a team that looks like they're having fun playing football and is explosive on both sides of the ball. And that's something that there were moments of that, but not enough this year. And I think that's the hard part is even when I think back to our game this past weekend, we had chances to keep that thing close, but we just didn't make enough plays at the right time for that, right? We didn't answer. The defense gets a stop and then the offense goes 3 and out, or the offense scores a touchdown and then we can't get a stop. Playing that complementary football, but I want it to be fun to watch. And I want people to fill this stadium and be excited about Arizona football, not just here, in the city of Tucson, but in the state of Arizona and all over the country.
Coach, I have a good luck charm for you.
Okay.
Good luck charm. All right, now, this worked for Kenny Dillingham this offseason when I talked with him at Big 12 Media Day. If we could show this, Kevin Thomas, this happened at Big 12 Media Day. Watch this.
This is big. This is big. All right. We've got the vaunted double Del Bacon Del Taco Cheeseburger. This was promised, and it was delivered as promised to the great Kenny Dillingham. He said that he would eat it. This is what we're about. Now, be honest, though. Be honest. You're
I mean, I don't want to.
You don't. Oh, yeah. It's not filet mignon. I mean,
it's. Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah. No.
It's probably the best thing I've ever had.
This is what we're about here. This is where we bridge the divide from Tempe to Tucson.
Oh, I disagree.
Yes, exactly. Coach, very good work. We very much appreciate it.
Coach, the double Del bacon cheese.
Is that a Del Taco burger?
Yes, it's Del Taco burger. I don't eat any of the Mexican food at Del Taco, but I eat the burger. Here's the deal, Coach. I'm going to bring you this one. I'm going to bring you this one sometime this week, and we could video you eating it. I'm telling you, it's good luck, and the people will dig it. Telling you.
I'm down.
All right.
I've had 1,000 Del Tacos.
I was gonna say you're a California dude. You've ate a taco before, right?
Like a million times. Yeah, that was like one of the late night go-tos. You know what I mean?
Have you had the double Del? The
I've
double
not
Del
had
bacon
Del.
cheeseburger? Oh, Coach, that is we got to get that inside. We got to get you to consume that this week.
That's the go-to.
Yep, that's what it is. It's good luck.
Is that
I'm
your
telling you it's
go-to, or that's just the go-to at Del Taco? Are you like
No.
claiming it should be called Del Burrito or Del Burger? Like,
Yes, no, it is mine.
It's way better than Mexican food there.
People don't, I don't really like the other stuff. People don't understand the power of this, though. And like I said, Dilly knows that this had something to do with it. So again, I'm going to spread the magic to you. I will bring it to you this week, Coach.
I appreciate it. Let's go.
Yeah. All right, Coach. I got to give you a ton of credit for coming on. This was very fun. And like I said, you come off well. Show it. You were great, my man.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Great talking,
it, Coach.
guys. Good to see you.
All right. Appreciate you. That's bear down. Back. Hey, can we get back the A?
What's that?
Can we
Can we
get
get it back the A?
Back the egg.
Back
Come
the
on.
egg.
What are you talking about?
Excellent. We
Let's
got
go.
it, Coach.
Let's
Coach,
go.
very much appreciate you, and I will be bringing you the Del Taco bacon cheeseburger. Yep, there you go, my man. Appreciate you,
All right.
dude.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right.